Okay, so my name is J.R. Rucker, and this is Destination Dissertation. And I have someone here who has been more than just an inspiration to me, someone that's been literally the reason why I'm in a doctoral program, gave me the confidence. So, without any further ado, I would like to introduce the new Dr. Danielle Wilson Lendor. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Congratulations
Thank you.
on defending your dissertation. We are
Thank you.
really excited for you, and I'm personally excited that I get to go to two events. I didn't know I get to go to two. Okay, so if you can talk to us a little bit about why you decided to go get your EDD.
Honestly, it was just a personal decision for me. I never thought that I would ever go back to school to get my doctorate. I had every intention of just continuing life with my master's degree. And I just had some friends in my life that were really encouraging. They were just informing me like, oh, you should just go back and get your degree. And I said, no, I don't think so. I don't really need it for my career goals and what have you. So nonetheless, I was sitting at this conference one day. It was the Amend conference, and I heard Lamont Hill. I forgot the first part of his name, but his name is like Lamont Hill or something. And he was speaking at the Amend conference, and he was sharing his testimony about how he went to college and how he dropped out, and he was like living under a bridge, and literally he was talking to one of the other people that was living on the streets with him, and that person said, hey, you don't belong here, this isn't for you, like go out, go do something with your life. And the guy, I guess, asked him like, what do you want to do with your life? And he said, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And then so the guy proceeded to say, well, how long is it going to take for you to do all that? And he said, well, it's going to take like 10 years of me being in school. And what he said kind of stuck with me forever. I guess the guy responded to Mr. Lamont Hill, or I should say Dr. Lamont Hill, and said, 10 years is going to pass by anyway. You just won't have your doctorate's degree. And I'm telling you, in that conference room, I was sitting there and I just immediately started reflecting on how exactly 3 years before that, I had a group of friends that were all in their doctoral programs. And this was in January and they were graduating in May. And they kept trying to tell me to apply when they applied. And I said, no, I just got married. We're going to start having children. We're going to travel. And none of those things happened. 3 years passed by. I didn't have a doctorate, no kids. I mean, me and my husband traveled, but outside of that, like everything that I thought that I was going to have and I said I was going to do, it did not happen. And I said, you know what? I'm going back to school. This is it. I felt like the Lord just really spoke to me. And I'm pretty religious, so I'm probably always going to reflect on my relationship with God. So, and I decided to apply. And at the time, they were having rolling applications. And I applied and I got admitted, and the rest is history.
Yes, and that story right there, there are other backstory parts of your story that were a big inspiration to myself as well. You really got a great story. I don't know, you might have to pen a book just with that title. 10 years is going to pass anywhere. So was there any particular reason why you selected USC?
Yes. So the reason why I selected USC was because, and this is just gonna sound horrible, but I selected USC and I selected LMU and I selected San Diego State. And at the time, I was gonna apply to all three of them. What the reason why I selected those three schools was because of not only because of their programs, but mainly because of the GRE. I did not want to take the GRE. So I had already avoided it so many times with my master's. And I said, man, I don't want to take it. So with USC, of course, they have a writing sample that you can do as opposed to the GRE. San Diego State, they make you take it, but they are not severely focused on the score. And LMU, they do count it against you, but I was going to take it and just take my chances with LMU. and they were given a good like financial package with their program. And how I ended up at USC was, like I mentioned before, they had rolling applications. So I was actually going to apply to all three of those schools for fall of 18. And it just so happens that USC had rolling applications, and I just applied and I got admitted. And so I started in fall of 17.
That is a great story. Now, one of the many things I get from you, but one of the things I really took from you, from your advice pool, was that you are very strategic on how to do certain things. And everything you've told me has really helped me within my doctoral studies as well. So tell us a little bit about, don't give all your secrets away, but tell us a little bit about how you were strategic in your journey to the actual writing of your dissertation. What were some things that you tried to make sure you did, and what were some strategies you used?
Okay. Well, right when I started my program, I spoke to a couple people that were, I guess, ending their educational journey, their doctoral journey. And some advice that was given to me, and I always have to credit the people that, I spoke to, because as I speak to you and I pour into you, there was a lot of people that poured into me. And so one gentleman that I spoke to, he had, gave me some really strong advice in regards to just having an idea of what you want your dissertation topic to be, and continuing to write about that. Every single class that you enter into, you're going to have some form of paper that you're going to write about. And in the classes that they actually give you the option to select, your topic, you should really focus on your dissertation topic, especially when you have to write a literature review, and write something different about it every single time. So then when it comes time for your dissertation, you'll already have various sources. You'll already have a lot of the content that you need to start. Obviously, you're not going to have 100 pages, but you will have a lot of the content that you need in order to move forward or have a really strong start to your dissertation. And so that was the advice that he gave to me. I just passed it on to you. I took it. It worked for me. I know that a lot of people that are in the program with me, they changed up a lot of times. And so they had to pretty much start from scratch, where I didn't. I just pulled a lot of the information that I had wrote in other classes and just kind of pulled it all together, and made it work, adjusted some things when, when need be, and moved forward that way. So I had a good jump start to my dissertation.
Jules, dropping jewels. Now, the committee, selecting your committee. Tell us what advice you give people, without necessarily naming names, but what advice you give people on critical things to remember about selecting your committee.
So I selected my committee based off of, I am a very organized, structured individual. So when you go to the conference, I don't know if they're still going to make you guys go through that process, but we went to a conference one Saturday and we had to go to like 15-minute, I guess you would call them like workshops or little seminars, where the committee members will pretty much present the areas in which they would kind of want, or they have areas of expertise. And so if that kind of aligns with your dissertation topic, then you should select them. And so I didn't go by that. I was like, I don't care if you know about my subject matter or not. I was looking for more of like someone who was structured, very organized, because that aligns with my personality. And so I went to one workshop. I found this individual and I was like, man, she seems like she's on it. And that's who I selected as my number one. And I ended up getting the opportunity to work with her. Now, in terms, are you asking about, that's my chair. Now, are you asking about other people? Like the
other people also, like that, your chair, and then the other.
Okay, so that's how I selected my chair. And then my other committee members, one was my professor, that I really connected with. I felt like she would be beneficial in terms of theoretical framework. And so I felt like I was really challenged with the, people call it conceptual framework or theoretical framework. So I felt like she can give, she could be beneficial to my dissertation by providing, excuse me, that background, by her background, providing information pertaining to theoretical frameworks. So that's how I selected my second committee member, and it had to be someone from the institution. And then my third person, I just really wanted somebody personal to me that was going to give me a hug when I needed to, that would answer late night phone calls and text messages, something that maybe my professor I didn't have a personal relationship with, or my chair I didn't have a personal relationship with, will do. And so I needed someone that obviously met the standards that can serve on my committee, as well as someone who I felt like I can connect with personally when I got frustrated. So that's how I went. And I didn't take any suggestions when it came. That was another thing that was real big for me. My chair recommended a lot of people, and I was adamant about choosing my own people. I have many friends that have taken the advice of their chairs, and for some it worked out great, and for some not so well.
We're gonna leave that there.
We're gonna leave that there.
Now, before you actually defend your dissertation, you actually have to submit it or propose it.
So you have two defenses. You have a proposal defense and you have a final defense. So when you start writing in the spring, you'll write chapters 1, 2, and 3. After you complete chapters 1, 2, and 3, you will submit those. I mean, you're going to be submitting them to your chair, and every chair operates differently. So the way that my chair operated is I would just communicate with her back and forth, and my committee members didn't get the opportunity to see my dissertation until about 2 weeks before the proposal defense. And so, like I said, you write chapters 1 through 3, and you do all the edits at your chair. You know, you're kind of going back and forth with your chair, you're writing, editing, so on and so forth. And then once your chair approves you, then you will, set up a day and time to do your proposal defense. And that's just pretty much saying, hey, this is the background of my subject, matter. This is what the literature has to say about it. And then this is the study that I'm proposing. And then they'll approve or tell you, I shouldn't probably say they're not gonna not approve you, but what I will say is they'll either have a whole bunch of edits that they want you to make, or they won't. And yeah, so you'll kind of go from there. And then after that, you have to go through IRB. And then after IRB, you can start conducting your study. Then you'll write up chapter 4 and 5. And then you'll, again, go back and forth with your chair and then do your final defense.
And for people that are watching this this exclusive Zoom video with Dr. Danielle Wilson Lendor, I want to say that one thing I want to give you props with is you mentioned that you do your defense proposal in the spring, but you pretty much had your dissertation completed in one semester. Would you say? Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what is it, the fall semester? I talked to you in December, January, you're pretty much done.
Right. So I had I had a self-imposed deadline. You do not have to do that. That was for me. It was really important for me to be completed in December. That was my gift to myself. And so I really challenged myself, and I was able to get it done. So you defend your proposal. I defended before the summer started. I was probably an early defense. And most people will defend by the summer, defend their proposal in the summer, go through IRB, and then they'll actually start conducting their research and stuff in the fall. And so I did actually take some time off, and I didn't conduct any research in the summer. I started in the fall. I just did it really quick. I did a qualitative study, so I did interviews, and I interviewed about 14 people, 10 individual, and then 4 within a focus group. And I just pretty much buckled down and said, I'm going to get this done in 2 weeks. And that's what I did. And then after that, then I would write up all of chapter 4, which is pretty much just your data. And then you write chapter 5. Chapter 5 is the best chapter because that's when you actually get to have a voice. So chapter 4 and 5 is not hard. It's chapters 1, 2, and 3. I think once you get through your proposal defense, then it's just downhill from there. And it's actually way more interesting because then it's your study, like you're actually conducting the study and it's your baby. At that point, it becomes your baby. And then I would encourage everyone to kind of like separate from it for a second in terms of like chapters 1, 2, and 3. I think people take ownership of their dissertation, and that's one thing I did not do. I looked at it as an assignment and did not look at it as this is my baby. And the reason why is because once you look at it as it's your baby, then you have a very hard time. It's kind of like equivalent to a parent, right? If I'm a parent, I have a child, this is how I want to raise my child. I don't need nobody giving me no advice about how to raise my child. This is what I want to do. And so it's kind of like that with your dissertation. You're getting a lot of feedback, and a lot of the feedback is not like grammatical errors. It's like, no, you need to change this, or you need to add this, or you need to add that. And sometimes you don't know if you can say like, no, I don't want to add that. Or no, that really doesn't have, that's not the direction I want to go into. And you kind of feel like you need to just listen to what they say, they being like your chair or your committee. And so in order for me to get through that, because that was difficult for me, I had to turn it into, this is an assignment, this is what they want for this assignment, and this is how we're going to move forward. And every other thing, all the other research I do once I become Dr. Wilson Lendor is my baby, but this one is theirs. And that I had to separate from it, and that got me through it. Where other people, they kind of argue back and forth, and I was like, I know I'm not arguing. What do you want me to do? Tell me what you want me to do. This is the topic I want to write about. Tell me what you want me to do, and I'm going to do it. Period. So I can get done.
I was thinking the same thing. Period.
Right.
That's a mindset. And you really inspired me and encouraged me to have that mindset. Just get it done. Be focused and be almost like a sniper. Just knock it out and get it over with. Okay, so I don't want you to tell us what happens in the room because I want that to be something that's special for each person when they actually do their defense. But I do want to ask you the question: the night before and the morning of your final defense, what was that like?
Nerve-wracking, sleepless. I mean, I knew I was ready. I was nervous. I think the most nerve-wracking thing for me is you really just don't know what questions they're going to ask you and if you're going to be prepared to answer their questions. And without saying too much, I will say, like in my proposal defense, I was asked a question that I felt like I could not answer, and that's okay. And I literally in the room, I just said, I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer your question. And at that point, my brain kind of shut down and I started to get really emotional because I was like, I cannot believe that I don't know how to answer, the question. And then my chair kind of stepped in, which I had really, really, really appreciated her at that moment. And she just stepped in and she was like, it's okay, Danielle. I think she kind of saw that I felt defeated. And so it was fine. Like, she was like, I'll work on you with that. And that was my proposal defense. I still passed and everything. And then I just put it in my brain, like, this is not how my final defense is going to go. And so the night before my final defense, I just kept reviewing everything. And, I printed up every single solitary page of my dissertation and I put it in a folder. I was reading through it. Sometimes you have to remind yourself of everything that you already wrote about because I hadn't looked at chapters 1, 2, and 3 since my proposal defense. I was focused on the data and chapter 4 and 5. And so you have to go back and remind yourself of your methodology section, especially that one. They don't really put too much emphasis and focus on the literature review anymore, but you really have to remind yourself of your process. because that's probably where a lot of questions may come from.
Final question. What are the future plans for you as a professional? What are your wildest dreams you have for yourself moving forward? If we can get a sneak peek into what you'd like to do in the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, honestly, I would love, well, for those of you who don't know, my dissertation was severely focused on the gosh, I can't even remember now. I'm so disconnected. Support services for online students. That's what it was focused on. And so I really honed in on that. And I would absolutely love to oversee a online support program. And I'm talking about like an entire program like financial aid, counseling, admissions and records, all for online students. I feel like student services has a real disconnect with online students. We offer the classes, we don't want to offer any support. We don't want to answer any phone calls. We don't, and this is solely based on community colleges, because that's where my experience stems from. So I don't know necessarily how it is in the university setting. However, at the community college level, we just constantly deal with how admissions and records are not answering phone calls and counseling is in. And, so online students can't receive the support that they're looking for. So I would love to be able to oversee that, hope potentially write a book about it. I mean, I don't know. I'm open to, various things. I like I said before, I didn't even realize I would be here, getting or having earned a doctorate degree. So I am excited about where life is going to take me.
Well, I am very excited too. You are, I got in the program because, one of the things I told myself is this is for my ancestors. My grandparents and my parents grew up on the farm as sharecroppers. So I want to let you know that you are your ancestors' wildest dreams. And so, congratulations. I'm excited to see not only what you're doing now, but what you're going to do in the future. I can't wait to go to all your celebrations and all that stuff. But listen, thank you so much. I believe this video right here will probably be listened to and viewed so many times because you make everything plain where people can understand it and they can actually apply it. So I just want to thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for having me, inviting me. I'm like happy to, you already know, I'm happy to share my story. And yeah, let me know if you ever need me to come back and answer any questions for you and your classmates. I'll be happy to do so. Thanks again.
All right. So this is Dr. Danielle Lendor. This is Destination Dissertation. She has her doctorate. She's crossed the bay, the ocean.
Yes.
She's now where everyone wants to be, in the place of just waiting to throw that robe on. So
that's right.
Big fight on to you. And I will look forward to talking to you later.
Okay. Sounds good.
Take care.
Thanks. You too.